Hello, Evie.
Good evening.
Nice to meet you again. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. First of all, I would like to say also hi to everyone who joined us for this next hashtag, the Shape of the New session, Q&A session. This is about the new virtual exhibition, which is curated by Sukai Eccleston with partnership with Artcan organization. And this is the organization which is supporting artists and is non-profit organization, so it's beautiful. And the exhibition is hosted by Kroll. And I am really very delighted to be part of this great event. And my guest is today Evie, and I think he's a very intriguing artistic personality. And I received a few questions, which I'm going to pass to you today, one by one. And first one is, what's your name and where are you from?
Okay, everyone. My name is Evelyn Jean, or you can call me Evie J, and I'm from London.
Great. So this is very, very close to you to be Londoner. This is one of the topics which is really very important for me. So the second question is, what is your practice and do you have a team within your work that is constantly explored? I know that you've got so many different mediums which you can speak with, but I'm not sure how it works in the reality.
Yeah, it's kind of a multimedia type of situation. I actually started off in music originally, so I'd kind of had a career in music for about 12 years. And I thought that was going to be kind of my main medium in life, if you like. And when I was young, my mother was a painter, so I kind of watched her painting and stuff. And I was always interested in painting and sort of filmmaking particularly, I think. And once the music sort of period had run its course, you know, it's kind of I mean, you don't want to, you know, it's a bit of a young person's game, perhaps a little bit, you know, and you reach a point where you kind of get to that stage where it's like, okay, I need to have a new I was almost getting a bit frustrated with it because I couldn't feel I could push it any further. So I kind of took up painting then, really. So I was quite late starter with painting, and also did quite sort of, I was finding filmmaking came very naturally to me. And so I'd kind of, you know, sort of went more for that angle in the end. And so, yeah, predominantly painting, filmmaking, occasionally a little bit of installation stuff as well. I think theme-wise, the main thing that seems to come up consistently with my work is probably something quite an existentialist theme, you know, so the kind of general meaning of life, human beings in general, you know, the way human beings kind of portray themselves, you know, and that could just be through something like a script of life, you know, where we're almost playing a role every day, aren't we, when we go out our front doors. You know, at the moment we're kind of not really going out our front doors that often, but in normal times, you know, we in different situations in life, we kind of almost change our hats, if you like, to kind of suit the situation. And so I think in that respect, you know, existentialist sort of theory of, in general, of, you know, what is really the purpose of existence, and why do we choose to portray ourselves the way we portray ourselves, you know, and to, you know, in out there in the real world, you know, and as opposed to how we feel about ourselves really underneath that veil of you know, the way we present to the world, if you like. So often when I'm talking to people, I notice that whether it's in my creative life or in my personal life with my friends, or with, you know, perhaps in my sort of day job situations too, where sometimes you look behind the eyes to sort of try to feel, you know, people are often, they will portray themselves a specific way that sometimes isn't actually that pleasant, but often I'll try to sort of get deeper than that. I may not be spoken, but I sort of, it's a feeling, if you like. And
you know, that is very interesting when you're telling, because when I was watching your especially paintings, I found a very clear message and directly touching the most important points in our life, and remind me the way how poster is touching people, you know, just presenting a situation and sending very clear message. And on the other hand, when I was watching your movie and the Warhol came to my mind, other amazing artists, and I was thinking maybe your next step would be, for example, theater. You would be, the full actress or maybe writer, because your personality is looking like be never happy with the medium to the end, and you are trying different area, like experimenting in different possibilities, like people. We've got a lot of tools how we can speak, and you just because you are talented, you can swap from one to other, and this is really very interesting. So yeah. And the topic of the faces and mask every day, which we're using, in everyday life.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's really very, thank you for that. And I think it's like when you're creating, you'll have an idea, don't you? And it would be the same, Maria. You will have a theme, general vibe behind. Look, this is what I'm trying to portray here. And sometimes it may feel like this needs to be a film, not a painting. And other times, like this is a painting. And sometimes you get the idea where you think it could just be a series, where it could be actually paintings and films and.
You are lucky that you can use this and choose the medium which you want, because not everybody is as flexible as you. And when I was watching also your art, I remind myself that I met you on the exhibition on the Track 2017.
Also, Barge
Yes, also the hour. Yes.
Yes.
And I remember our very sensitive chat, and in my eyes very strongly I still keep some of your pictures, so maybe
I remember you as well, actually. When we spoke earlier today, didn't we?
Yes.
When we were doing a bit of kind of make sure the technical part was going to work out okay. And
yes.
I remember as well that we'd met at Tribe 17, I think it was. I think like half of London was in that show when I think about it.
Maybe. And we are very lucky, for example, to be again in this exhibition, which I find amazingly, because Sukai organized a lot of amazing webinars, chat, and also 2 days ago that was live with Frank and Sukai, where they presented the ideas about the new shape of this virtual gallery, which maybe would be a little bit reminder. Fantastic museum, Guggenheim Museum from New York, but also the beautiful design museum in London. Both of them has got amazing architecture. So we are very lucky to be part of this event, I think.
It was and KV's just commented there, actually. I remember that's where I met KV as well, and so many people who not just part of ArtCam, but part of other kind of collectives as well. It was just
artistic community.
Yeah, it was
so
really
London is a amazing place. I'm lucky to living here all the time.
Maybe one day they'll recreate that event, as a kind of 20 years on. If we all go on to be quite, have good careers in art, you never know. It could be one of them sort of watershed moments, in the London art scene. Who knows?
Exactly. So now we came to the fourth question. The question is quite funny. Actually, the question is, what are your friends, mom, dad, partner? Oh no, I made mistake. That is the next one.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I thought, we're live.
I'm a little bit excited about this chat, so this is the reason for the mistake. Which artist would you like to go and on a blind date, living or dead? If you can choose, and you have to explain why.
I know, it's one of those funny questions, isn't it? I did think about this, and I think that I would probably say Marina Abramovich. The reason being is she was a massive influence on me, Marina Abramovich, and I find her something about Marina she's very kind of very strong character. I actually met her once as well. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, I met her one time, and she has like a power over you. I felt just almost like paralyzed when I was talking to her. And there's just something about what she does that is ultimate for me. It's whilst it's performance art predominantly, but I just find her really massively interesting, and I think she would be a great person to
Yes, I went for her exhibition performance in Serpentine Gallery,
Yeah,
when she was just confronting everybody, and we can stay with her a few minutes.
Yeah.
Or sometimes she came to anybody and just, like very, very quietly say something or make the exchange.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And she's a conceptual artist, and her body also is very speaking, very, very strong with sending the message. It's actually, you touched my last question, so I have to swallow a little bit.
Did you participate in the Marina Abramovic show at the Serpentine, or were you more observing? Because I found that when I first got there, I was just kind of watching, but I almost became a bit hypnotized, and I kind of find myself doing things that, very much out of character, isn't it? Where you'd be walking back, looking at a mirror and stuff,
I felt at that time like I am a part of some of performance, or maybe like in the theater that you're taking part, because these days the actor going between the people, and you never know, and it's the gate between the stage and between the viewers. So that was really touching, I think, a lot of people, because then we've got the feeling that everybody's observing everybody. And when I came back home, I made a small few sketches because, the points in the space, it was really very intriguing and fine. So that was my last question about woman which inspiring your career and art. So now we have to swap again to the question which I tried to say before, like what your mom, family say about your art, and how they describe in a few words what are you doing.
I would say that it would depend on which one of them I picked, I think. It's funny because, my family, my mother lives in Australia, actually. So I haven't seen her for a very long time, but over 20 years. But but we speak, on the phone and stuff. And she's seen she looks at my website and stuff. And because she was a painter, and her idea of art, she has a more classical idea of what art is, so she would be like, oh, why does it always have to be so depressing? That was kind of her angle, really.
But maybe you are more provocative than depressing, because when you send this kind of message, when we have to stop in front of it and go back and think again, maybe this is the way how we can catch people's reaction and make people think. So,
and I think it's the same for yourself, probably, as it is for any artist. I think that, you will often find that people, in your life, whether they're your friends, your family, or your partner, or perhaps just acquaintances even, other artists, will look at your work in a different way, won't they? Your friends are often very encouraging. It's usually very, it's brilliant, because they feel like anyone can do it, really, but they sort of think, I can't do that. It's amazing you can do it, and whereas perhaps if someone is already an artist, they're going to look at it with a slightly, not so much critical, but certainly a kind of more, they'll either look at it for inspiration or for techniques perhaps involved. So how did you do that?
Because they maybe didn't have a personal contact with you. The people which are very close to us, they maybe know us more, and they've got more possibility to see us together as a whole portrait of us. But maybe because of some people don't know us, and watching the art as it is, give us absolutely different thoughts. It would be a surprise for us what somebody think about, that piece of art.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So one of the other question connecting to our title, which we all working for that, because our exhibition is a collective exhibition. It's 29 artists taking part, and I found that everybody is somehow very interesting. We are different, nearly everybody using different medium, but the question which I now am going to give you is, what does the shape of the new mean to you?
I think firstly, it's such a shame that we couldn't do this show physically. I think, it's such a great show, and, I know, Sukai's other shows that she's done previously as well. They're just like kind of some of the artists are just unbelievable, you know, and it would have been amazing to have been able to be in the same room as everyone to see the show. But, you know, virtual is better than nothing. So, you know, that's still a good thing. I think for me, the Shape of the New is, you know, there's an uncertainty I think we've all got coming up, you know, and some people will look at this very optimistically. And I think we all want to try and be optimistic about what's going to happen now after what's been, you know, an unbelievable experience that everyone in their own way has gone through in some capacity. I think the way I'm kind of approaching it from a creative point of view is I'm focusing, or not exclusively, but I think I'm drawn to the you know, perhaps the anxiety of it, you know, the concerns about the economic future, you know, and that, you know, for the last year we've all been, you know, some of us have day jobs, some of us are full-time artists, whatever the situation is, but there's been a kind of cushion there, you know, from say the government, you know, in the UK to kind of perhaps at the moment it's not that, it's just a bit of a bubble, bit like wrapped in cotton wool at the moment. And I just wonder when those cushions get taken away and the world in effect goes back to some sort of normality and all this
in the reality,
what's really going to happen then, you know. And that's probably what I would see as the Shape of the New for me, is tentative about perhaps areas that had already were an issue, you know, like marginalization, you know, in not just in London but across the whole world, you know, and you know, them kind of that sort of thing concerns me quite a lot, that things that were never really addressed before COVID are going to just perhaps get worse. But equally, I think there could be an optimism that people who were people in general maybe perhaps be a bit more open with each other than they were previously. And that's my optimistic slant on it, you know, that I'd like to think that I've noticed it now. And I don't know if you've noticed this, Maria, but when you walk down the street, people tend to, and I live in central London, you know, and in a very unpersonal sort of part of the world, you know, and people usually, you don't look at people, but you know, it's very rare you would say hello to people as you pass them on a street in central London, but I'm noticing it, and people seem a little bit nicer.
Because you know that is how to say, there is always two sides of the coin, you know. So on one side, maybe this was the first time when globally everybody was touching personally, globally, and that was absolutely surprised that we not ready for this kind of experience, and take our attention also to other more important problems like global warming, migration, wars, you know, the very strong one. On the other hand, I think we start to be more open, and the digital world show her much more warm face, because we can use Zooms, other media to contact. And as you thought, when you're going outside, you try to find smiling face and give the some answer, the positive one, you know. So because I'm the person which always telling about the half amount of the glass, not the empty one.
Sure. So it's is it half full or half empty, Maria?
Yes, exactly. I'm trying to say, fine, we survive with all the problems, and we try to be much more understandable, much more concentrate about people, not only, you know, other goals which we've got in the life. So on the other hand, for artists, actually, that maybe wasn't too bad as you thought, that we got the time for working on, we got the support. What would be next? That is a big question. And I don't think so that is clear answer. Actually, what we would be, usually the people say, tomorrow will be what we create today. So to have better start after all the problem, we have to just start to think now. And I think the exhibition is part of the opportunity, you know.
Absolutely.
First time I make this live, we learned something new. And sorry for my English mistakes, but I am very happy that I don't have a borders in the virtual reality. Yes. And I can speak with the people in different countries. You can speak with your mom, you know, even if she's in Australia. So it's really, you know, thousands of kilometers. So we should be on the positive side of the story, I think.
Yeah.
And now it's time when I have to come to my two questions. And actually, I prepared two, and two are not very good, because the first one was that I was planning to ask you about, because we've got to the International Women's Days, what do you think about to establish, for example, International Men's Day? But then I found that exists on the 19th of November.
I think it does exist, yeah, you know. I think there is International Men's Day, yeah.
Yes, I just Google, and everything is in the Google. And then I was thinking, maybe I ask about Women International Day. But you actually gave your answer about Marina Abramovich, and I think also your mom, because she was a painter. So I can imagine you just grow up watching her beautiful art. So maybe I gave you a very small one question, because we speak about the future. We're looking for kind of balance in our life. So have you got some, and maybe addition, because you are also a poet and person who like awards. Have you got awards, which is very important for you, which is like a box and contain something very important for you, kind of meaning or maybe inspiration, which would be like a message of something to I can think about it?
Oh, that's a proper curveball, isn't it, that one?
Yeah.
You know, it's I think that you kind of create various worlds for yourself, don't you, ultimately? And when you say, you know, is there one specific area, I would find the kind of, particularly the way I work, you know, I have such a varied kind of, you know, sort of variety of things I do that I kind of would find it difficult to pick one area. But certainly I think that I would be hoping that for me, it's really about finding a way where you just feel completely comfortable inside your own skin, you know, and it's such a shame that tends to come more as you get older, doesn't it? You know, and when you kind of want to go back to your younger body with that level of comfort, you know, and I wouldn't say it's comfort, because the anxieties in some ways, the worries are worse because you actually worry about things, you know, whereas when you're young, you don't worry, but you're
more responsible.
But you also have no confidence, you know, whereas you have confidence when you're older, but you worry about everything. So it's a kind of a funny, it's I think the ultimate peace of mind is just about, I guess if I was trying to answer the question as best I can, would be that, you know, in 100 years' time, we won't be here, you know, and anyone who knows us won't be here either. So there's no point worrying too much, you know, because at the end of the day,
very good advice.
What happens today, you know, when you make a fool of yourself or something, you're absolutely mortified, and you know it happens, and you can't help it. That's just how we are. That's how we're wired. But I think, you know, one day, all of this whole world will be someone else's world, you know, and there'll be a whole group of new people with their own worries and worlds. And, you know, some of us, you know, I mean, probably, you know, we'll all make a little dent in that world. And we all hope that we have some sort of, you know, kind of almost time capsule in that world in some way. And we're all creators. We're all artists. So in effect, we are doing that. You know, there's stuff there that's always going to be there, you know. But ultimately, you know, one day, all our little worries won't be there any longer. And for me, it's an optimistic feeling. It's, again, quite existentialist, but it's, you know, I find it optimistic. You know, it's like, don't stress too much, because, you know, in a year's time, you will have forgotten about this, and you'll be worrying. You'll be looking at something, you know, and that would be probably the best way I could answer that.
It's like first chapter of your new book. Well done. Thank you. So now I think Yeah, Evie, I think now is time when you have to pick up one person who we would like to speak with next time and ask her about what you've got a hat. Just in case, I prepared my envelope.
I moved house. Yeah, I
Yeah.
moved house today, and it was like, incredible, really, that I managed to even find a hat in amongst all the boxes. I found one.
Yeah.
Right.
Lucky one.
Okay, so the name I've got is Diana Rosa.
Wow, fantastic. I hope that Diana Rosa is watching.
It's even written on there.
Yes, I hope Diana is watching, and that would be your next fantastic chat at the possibility of speaking with somebody else.
I look forward to it, actually. Yeah, I've checked out all the artists in the show, as I'm sure you have as well. And we're all, it's great to see so many, great artists in one show, and that's often the case anyway. But also, and I can see Suke saying good answer, so that's a relief. At least we didn't pick one that had already.
Yes. Exactly.
Said,
So we have to say thank you to everybody and invite everybody for our Shape of the New exhibition, which privately would be on 12th of March, yeah? And
I think it was, 12th or the 11th, yes.
Yeah. So it's just only a few minutes, and that would be the possibility of watching us. Thank you very much, Evie, and I'm really inspired by everything what you said. And
thank you. It's been
see you soon.
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much. And thanks everyone for joining as well.
Yes, thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.